Hello and good weekend. This is Joseph from KILT BEARD CO. Starting off the weekend with some Alexander Murray and Company Scotch. This is one of those unicorns that I found in Las Vegas over the summer of 2023. And usually when I go to Total Wine, which is kind of like a candy land for whiskey enthusiasts alike, and I always ask the whiskey sommelier or expert, what they recommend and what's under the radar, something that most people haven't tried yet and will be surprised to see how tasty it is for the price that you're getting it for. And the one man, and the name escapes me because it's been over half a year now, showed me to Alexander Murray and Company here. And this is a single malt from 2012, so it's a 10-year. And they have wide ranges of aged scotches. This one just was for the price, etc., like that, just to see if it would be a company that I would be interested in. And it's a double thumbs up. But so let's jump into them. And sorry. So I wiped the bottle off. For some reason, my hands were all messy, and then I kind of tore or melted away a little bit of the labeling. But so it's not that attractive. But it's what's inside that counts, right? So make sure to square that away there. Cheers to the weekend. The oak really comes through really well in this. If you're into wanting to get a good smell taste of the barrel, this is definitely the scotch for you. It's a little bit more on the citrus side. It feels like a tamed smoke of a sort. So it's not overpowering. And you get that caramel, but the finish is very smooth. And the description says that it's supposed to have a hint of salt. I don't think my palate can really find that one right there, but you can get the caramel, and it definitely smells like a scotch, but very tamed scotch. And when I mean tamed, is not as smoky as some scotches can be. And to me, the smokiness is fine. I'm not a huge fan of scotch when it comes to the smokiness part of it all, but I do appreciate the work and the story that goes behind scotch and making scotch. So, but if you're somewhere in the middle there, and the body is, I want to say thick, it's like a medium, because it like stays on the glass and it stays around the tongue just a little bit. And yeah, it's a really good one. Highly recommend it. And a little bit of background about this company. I'm going to read a little bit off here. So the Benrock distillery was founded in 1898 in Speyside region in the north of Scotland. It lies just south of, I think it's called Elgin, something like that. The administrative and commercial center of Moray, Speyside. After in auspicious start, the distillery was in operation for 2 years before resting for the next 65 years. Benrock has gone from strength to strength in the 21st century, and today produces magnificent spirit with tropical fruit characteristics, along with the aromatic spiciness that develops over time in the oak, matured and refilled bourbon hogshead casks. And like I said, this one right here is a 10-year. It's a complete bargain. For $35 is what it costs for this. You're going to get a quality scotch that it's like going from like an Irish whiskey into a scotch right between those two. Or if an Irish whiskey and a scotch had a kid, this is what you would get. They have 4 different takes on their whiskeys, and they specialize in basically blending whiskeys and scotches together, or innovating with scotch in different ways to really challenge the palate and challenge the senses when it comes to trying Scotch, and I really like how they push the borders. I think some companies, especially companies that have been at it for a while and they've already got their blend master down, they have their corn, their wheat, their grass all measured out, time stamped. It's like waking up, sun rising in the east, going to sleep, and sun setting in the west. That that you innovate, you try different things, because you never know. You may come out with like a game changer and be ahead of the spear in many cases. So if you're ever out and about and you're looking for a new Scotch, or a new tame Scotch is what I would say to try, I definitely would recommend this. Like I said, I've been tasting this off and on for the past 6-7 months, and every time I try it, it's a complete thumbs up, and very inviting to the palate. So yeah, once again, cheers to the weekend. Yeah, really good. Put this aside for a little bit. So a wrist check, like I always like to do. Some people would say this is their flex check. So I'm wearing the Omega Seamaster 300 green bezel. And it kind of looks black in here right now. This is what's really cool about this watch. It looks black, and it can go to almost bright green to a like a dark forest green. This is also nicknamed as seaweed because of the dark green. It gives a seaweed look. I'll give you a better look at it in the camera. Like I said, this is green, but it looks black right now, at least in the camera here as I look at you guys. Got this watch last year, just around my birthday, and I must admit, this is really one of my favorite watches, honestly. The green, for one thing, but it has a green character, and the character of it is that it can go between black and green. It's an Omega Seamaster. Honestly, if you ever wanted to be a one and done watch person, this would be one of those few watches that I would put on that list that you could have as a one and done. And the bracelet takes a little bit getting used to, but it is comfortable. It's well balanced, so it just sits on your wrist like perfectly in the center. At least for me, once again, I have large wrists, 8.25-inch wrist, so I could fit just about anything. But the bracelet and the watch really adapt to your wrist and your skin, and it's very inviting. Sometimes I don't even know what's even on there. And in case you're gonna go look this up, the reference is the Omega Seamaster 300 dive. This is the 210.30.42.1 or 20.10.001. So yeah, I don't understand why Omega likes to challenge people and is asking to make you want to guess what the reference number is to this. I've never understood that one. I do understand how you get the caliber sometimes in that number, in a reference number for some watches, which makes sense, and maybe some other attributes to it, but I don't get having 10 to 15 digits. I just don't get that. But since 1993, the Seamaster Professional Diver 300M has enjoyed legendary following. Today's modern collection has embraced that famous ocean heritage and updated it with the Omega's best innovation and design. And I would totally agree with this. This 42mm model is crafted from stainless steel and includes a green ceramic bezel with a white enameled diving scale. The dial is also polished green ceramic and features laser engraved waves and a date window at 6 o'clock. The skeleton hands and raised indexes are rhodium plated and are filled with superluminova, while the helium escape valve, as it's infamous for, has been given a conical design. The watch is presented on an adjustable stainless steel bracelet with extra diver extensions, which is really cool and very useful, and is driven by the Omega Master chronometer caliber 8800, which can be seen through the sapphire crystal on the wave edge case back. So this does look very pretty and very clean for a sealed watch, in my opinion. For $5,600, if you're looking for a brand new watch to you, and if it's a one and done or you've never experienced an Omega, I would highly recommend this being your first stop. The Aquaterra is nice. However, this kind of covers all facets, in my opinion. You got a diver that is sporty. It can also be just thin enough to go under the cup. And also, it is kind of timeless. The helium escape valve, I'll love it or hate it, it is what distinguishes it from any other watch. And as you can see, when you look at many watches on the market, you will also see that many of them look like a Rolex in some shape or form. You have the dial and the bezel. They're all kind of similar in sequence. With this helium escape valve, you know it's an Omega Seamaster. So if you're one of those people who just are people about it, I would say get over it. It's what makes it unique. Also, it doesn't influence your mobility of your wrist or your arm or anything like that. It really does play well with your day-to-day life. And some more technical data on this watch. Between the lugs, the open case measurement model, 20 millimeters, lug to lug open case measurement model is 49.9 millimeters. So the thickness open case measurement model is 13.6 millimeters. Case diameter is 42 millimeters. So like I said, this is steel. The dial color is green. It's got crystal sapphire for the crystal. It's dome scratch resistant sapphire crystal with anti-reflective treatment on both sides. This does play a role. So when the sun hits the dial at the right moment, the markers they glimmer like a crystal glimmer. It's really cool, and I like that little touch on this for the anti-reflective. Some people are not for anti-reflective. I'm indifferent. I think it depends on the watch and what you're trying to achieve. I'm not going to be diving, I don't think, anytime soon, but if I'm diving to the depths of up to 300 meters, I'm going to want a lot of clarity, and I don't want no sun having a reflection of any sort coming from up top. And so I think the anti-reflective is really nice on this watch. It is water resistance of 30 bars or 30 meters or 1,000 feet, depending on if you're on Imperial or the metric system. It's 198 grams. So it's with the steel. So it's a pretty, I want to say, chunky watch. It's a very mid to upper tier in weight, I think is what I would say if you have all the links in there. And like, it's self-winding. It's got 55 hours of power reserve, and it's just an awesome watch. Is all I can really reiterate. I didn't show the case back here. Hopefully it's not too messy because of sitting on my wrist. I hope you can see it, the little engine working in there. Super cool. It's just one of those watches I have stared at, just a flick of a wrist changing from black to green. And you know what? I really do like the date at the bottom at 6 o'clock. I think you'll find it as a norm at the 3 o'clock for most watches, and you'll have a few like Grand Seiko and others that may put it at like the 5 o'clock time, 4 or 5 o'clock time right there. But 6, it makes sense to me. And it looks very aesthetically pleasing. I'm not gonna say I don't like a Rolex or anything, but I do like, especially on this watch, it just makes sense. And I'd love to know what you think about Omega. Are you a fan of Omega? Do you have an Omega? Do you have a Seamaster? What year is it from? Is it the current one? If you've tried on or you have the green one here, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do they match mine? Are you a fan like I am? I really do think that this is a timeless watch. The green, to me, is the best choice. I think the black, the white, the blue, the anniversary, what was it? The anniversary or the C edition or whatever it was last summer that they came out with. They're all attractive. It just depends what you're trying to get. For me, it's all about the story and the character of the watch. To me, this has a lot of character. Like I said, blacks and greens, and it's waterproof, and the watch is just damn pretty. All right, and yeah, I'm not gonna mumble on anymore about it. If you're gonna get a luxury watch and you're willing to go up into the next tier from the 3,000 tier to the 5,000 tier, I would have a stop at your Omega Seamaster, and I would try that on. I really don't think you'll be disappointed in this. I think you can even rock this out about 6.5 inch wrist. I think you still could rock this out and have plenty of room to like it. But yeah, I'd like to hear what you think. So as you know, I do like Funko Pops. I'm a huge fan of many characters, and from Wallace from Braveheart to John Wick to the Vikings, I'm just a huge fan of Pops. And I got a new one today I'd like to share with you. So let me know what you think about this. So can you guess what this might be? So this is the Joker. And not just the Joker, but it's also a Chase Joker, steel one. And this is just awesome. So I like the Joker a lot. And the Joker to me is one of my favorite characters from the Batman series. I used to watch Batman all the time when I was a kid. I was at my grandparents' house, and I would watch the old ones, like Cesar Romero, who played Joker then, just was a phenomenal actor and just a timeless laugh, a smile. I think most of the good Jokers have a good smile, and like Jack Nicholson, I think I was really amazed how Jack Nicholson played that role, and of course Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is just a master. I mean, talking about a person who really encapsulated the role to the point, as many of you may or may not know, of his passing. And then Joaquin Phoenix in the most recent Joker, all have contributed to this character, which I guess you would say I adore. And when you get the Chase, a limited edition, and the Joker in general, it's just one of those additions to your collection that you can be proud of. So I'm kind of mumbling on here a little bit because I'm just trying to read the package for the first time and look at it all. And it says void if the seal is broken. And it's like, I want to look in there and see this guy, but I don't want to avoid, because this is a special edition. So I'm going to read up more about it, what it means if I do crack the seal, and see what's in there. But yeah, really cool 360 that I just got. It was the last call as a die cast. And some people will ask, why the Joker? Why do I like the Joker? And I'll put it to the side here. Well, why I like the Joker? And the Joker is an outcast from society. And I wouldn't call myself an outcast, but what I would say that I'm a person who thinks outside the box. I'm not the yes man of the group. I'm an individual thinker, and I like to add value instead of just absorb value, if that makes sense. So the other thing about the Joker is that he's comfortable with who he is. a person who knows who he is or she is very powerful. And how many people walk through life trying to please someone? They're not. There's many. If it's not potentially yourself, you know somebody. And besides the chaos that makes a great movie, however, to a lesser extent, those are different who create those ripples, who create change, who are freaks, if you want to call that, nerds, just a little bit different, are the ones who disrupt the social norms, create change. And there's like many of that. It seems like that's happening more and more in society through technology, through politics, through social media, and the different personalities that are coming through. And to me, the Joker really is that champion. But yeah, the Joker, awesome to my collection. And so I put them right here. Bam. So do you guys collect pops? What do you collect? What's fun with what is one of those things that you enjoy that you can't get like enough of? I love to hear some of those off the wall collectibles that you go for that either are just within price range or maybe on the really high price range. I'd like to hear what they are. Really, for me, is watches, whiskey, coffee, and pops, Funko Pops. Clothes, I'm not really a huge fan about clothes. They keep me warm, keep me cool, keep me out of the elements or the elements from getting on me, things like that. That's how I really look at clothes. Now, I'll get back to that in a moment when I talk about the Patagonia flannel here. It's kind of a cool story in my opinion, how things just played in with each other. But it is really cool to I think it's always something great to have that a person pursues something as a hobby or an enthusiast of some sort, even if it's just one thing. It doesn't have to be 5 things like I like to go after. One thing, and really embrace yourself into that and become a expert in what you do. And I love to listen to those people who are even larger experts than me. And I would love to know what your expertise is in, so that maybe I can even add that into the show, or engage more in future content. So yeah. So I think the real check mark here, if I can get through one take here without having the retake, and this microphone does well, this is a complete win. And if I get 3 comments and or 3 likes plus, this is a total win of an episode. So that's what I'm shooting for. So throw the likes up there, throw a comment in there. What kind of whiskey are you drinking tonight? What are you drinking as a mixer? Love to hear it. What type of hobby are you in? What kind of watch are you flexing this weekend or this week, or what have you flexed this week? I love to hear what you have been wearing. And if you have a story behind it, please share the story, because those stories are awesome. I love the story behind a watch. And so the next thing I'm going to be talking about here is our beard ingredient spotlight. So beeswax. So to beeswax or not to beeswax? That is the question. So at KILT Beard Co, we use beeswax for a beard balm, and we omit it from a beard butter. So we believe that a butter is supposed to have a softer feel to it, not a cream, but a softer feel to it, where it's not really meant for styling. It's more for nourishment for your beard. And that being said, I do believe that the beeswax belongs in a balm, and KILT Beard kind of gives you both those best of both worlds. So let me explain. So the beard butter has the 3 butters in there, unlike most butters as you've seen in my previous videos, and I'll add it at the end of this video. They only have 1 butter in there. Most of them do. We have 3. Now we carry those 3 butters over: mango, butter, a 𝐒𝐂𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐍 butter, and shea butter, and we add it into our balm also with beeswax. So you get the same nourishment, but you have the opportunity to style with a balm. So here is our Beard Elixir beard balm. Focus, focus, focus. And this has grapefruit and peppermint. Also has a beard oil that goes with it too. And you have more of a beeswaxiness to it. This is going to have a much more difficult time melting than the butter. It smells great too. So if you want that clean, peppermint, uplifting grapefruit smell, on point. And we have our Best Damn Beard Butter. And this is kind of my in front of the camera use, is more applicable, smoother than the beeswax. So this one, 5 swipes of your hand, pea-sized, it melts in your hand, rub it through, moisturize, you're good to go. Beeswax, you have to warm it up to, I think I believe it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So you have to get a little bit of rub, especially if you have cold hands. You really got to get that rubbed in there. Once it melts in your hand, you put it back into your beards, you style it. So I like to put beard balm in my beard for about, so rub it through your beard, put it where you need it to style it and tame the straggling hairs that you have. Wait about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, come back and really smooth it and move your mustache or wherever you want to really sculpt, however you want to sculpt your beard, and do it then, because the wax is almost set and you can kind of like, bend it to your will if you want to call it that. But it is, beeswax is, I think, is necessary in a balm, but not a butter. And they both have 2 different uses, but they have almost the same outcome as far as a nourishment for your beard. And once again, beeswax has is fantastic for skin softening properties, and it enhances skin elasticity, helping reduce like your skin's aging. Beeswax is anti-allergenic and anti-inflammatory. So also with antioxidant that it provides, and an antibacterial, you're gonna have a longer shelf life probably with the balm than you are with the butter. I'm not gonna get into all the intricacies of different types of butters, because all butters are not created the same. But in the end, the beeswax is going to help probably have a longer shelf life in the long run than the butter. However, that being said, it may get harder and may take a little bit more time to work out into your hands in order to apply it. It's also water and oil soluble, which is important too, because it really brings the ingredients together. It bonds them together. So it helps many companies who may use more or less of beard oils or butters to go with the balm to really bring those ingredients together. So that's what beeswax is for. And we go a step further and we do organic yellow beeswax because, like I mentioned before, we believe we want every ingredient as close to the source to your beard as we can get, to get the maximum amount of ingredients and nourishment and fatty acids and nutrients that your beard craves, so you have the maximum outcome that you're looking for. So sip. So beeswax and balm, no beeswax and butter. That's our approach. Both have the same nutrients from KILT BEARD CO, just to get a little bit more styling out of this one right here. So if you want to check them out and see what the difference is, I use this at nighttime, Best Damn Beard Butter at nighttime, or I would use the balm during the day, and your beard will thank you. So as you see, I'm wearing a Patagonia flannel. This is my first Patagonia a flannel or a piece of clothing that I've ever owned. And so eventually one day I want KILT BEARD CO to be a bearded lifestyle company, and going with kilt and tartan and such. I do have a love for flannel, especially in the fall and winter. And I think it just exemplifies a beard. In many cases, it really gives that character that I think many men are going for. And so I got this flannel, and yes, it's expensive, but I also want to see on the scale of what the flannels already have, which are basic ones from Wisconsin, and what a high-end one feels and looks like, and see how it performs, to gauge on the type of material, sourcing, the making, all that goes into all this, to see if that would be a part of a future 3 to 5 years from now kind of thing with KILT Beard Co. And what I learned is that this company is really awesome. And so, as many of you may know or may not know, I do a Sunday show with a Dakota. We call it the Cup with Joe and Dakota. And I've always been interested in coffee. I love coffee, and I've always thought of different business ideas for coffee. And when I was listening to a gentleman on YouTube who was discussing his business and what goes into his business and etc., and then he recommended 3 books. I like books that add value to my life, and he recommended Let My People Go Surfing. And without even knowing what that book was about, I bought it. I bought the Audible, and it was a story about Patagonia. So I just bought this on the flannel, and about a week or 2 later, I got the Audible. So it was really close, and to pass the price tag of having them be a premium brand in their niche or in their lane. I love that the company started with a passion to do what they do. They love climbing mountains, rocky areas, hills, just being outdoors and really pushing the boundaries of man and your physical abilities. And they made equipment for rock climbers, and really lost money or broke even in the end. But they continue to just put things out there, not being too serious. So then eventually, as we all need to survive and pursue our happiness in other forms and endeavors, we need to make some money, or somebody's got to pay for us, one of the two. And they went down the route that of the apparel and clothing route for those who were mountaineers, climbers, and then now it's like the everyday outdoorsman. And they incorporated the clothing, and continued to scale the tools for climbing and through the field. So the trial and error in the field. And it was really a cool story to know where the humble beginnings came from, and then how they're a $1 billion company. And it all started with just having a passion for climbing. Where was I at? In my head. So the company is a environmental, sustainable company. Now, I'm not going down the rabbit hole of climate change or anything like that. I look at the perspective as that they know their North Star is to leave as less of a footprint on the earth as possible. And they are very mindful of, for example, this jacket, or this flannel jacket, you want to call it that. They want to make sure that this lasts 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or for a lifetime. And it was those insights that made me think $180 for this. Over the next 5 years, I may buy 1 to 3 flannels to replace this instead if I didn't have this. And that would be 1 to 3 more pieces of clothing that added a footprint to act negatively on the earth. And to me, it's more just common sense. It's a more efficient way to provide value to a customer while still maintaining an environmental friendly footprint. And I really commend them on this forethought, because they were kind of pioneers to this way of thinking way before this was even cool, or we had these crazy um, back and forth on what climate change is and isn't, and if it's happening, if man is uh, the cause of it all. And they basically wanted to be more efficient. They wanted to leave less of a footprint. And the title, as it states, "Let My People Go Surfing," they also involve the appreciation of their employees. They understand that, being on the West Coast where they're from, that, if they're getting some awesome waves out there and some people are surfers, half the day go catch a wave, have fun, have a good time. Because they know that when that person has the freedom and flexibility to do what they love and then come back and provide value to not just the company, but to a customer, because they're in a good place, they get more out of that employee, more out of that person. The person is now providing more value than the person who has basically, they're shackled to a 9 to 5, 5 or 10 days off a year. If you go over that, there's a point system, or you get fired, or whatever the case may be. As they explain, over the course of implementing these flexibility attributes to their company, it was very far and few in between of people who took over advantage of this, and partially because they hire slowly and they hire from within, because they already have that cultural mold that what they're going for. And most people who, at that time of when I listened to Audible, the people they hired outside the company were friends and family. So it's a tight-knit community culture in this place that I really commend as just being amazing. And there are shortfalls too, as the book will speak about, how the business went up and down and went through its cycles like most big businesses do, or even small businesses. But I think it's really important when we purchase things that to hear their story, hear the reason why they do what they do, what they're working towards, what their goal is, not just for the company, but for the community, the customer, even if you want to go into the earth or anything like that, or a charity or a cause of some sort. Those type of feel goods to me really like reel me in, because they relate to me. For example, I'm a veteran, and I put charitable donations towards veterans, and I love dogs. You may have heard my dog barking out here, as she's giving me the utmost time to record this, to help save a dog. And currently, donations from my company go to Canines for Warriors, because they help save a veteran from suicide, and they save a dog from euthanasia. And I mean, you're saving 2 lives. There's no better feel good than that, in my opinion. And yeah, so look for companies that really want to do better. And Patagonia, I love their story. The book is great, even if you don't want to wear Patagonia or you don't 100% agree with their North Star. I do like one other thing too. I'd like to share about their idea of quality. So they talk about the example of what like a creative design director or something like that was being asked by the owner. So what is the most prestigious or the best made shirt in the world? And the VP, director, designer, whatever the title was, said that it was a handmade shirt in Italy. And he asked, why is that the best? And her response was that it was handmade. And yeah, so his follow-up was, so what if I threw it in the washing machine? And she's like, oh, you can't do that. And he's like, why not? Because you'll ruin it. And right there is the conversation of what premium and quality is. And what Patagonia goes for and strives for is quality that really can live up to the daily tests and rigors of the human. So if you're going to wash it, if you're going to be outdoors, if you're going to go play with your dog, all those type of interactions in your life, those events. And I think that's a great segue to really look into some of these brands. And you may pay a little bit more for a brand up front, but if you have it 5 to 10 years from now, you may have. So in closing, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Appreciate you, dropping in, checking us out if this is your first time. The Alexander Murray, highly recommend the Scotch. If you never tried a Scotch before, or you just don't like Scotch, this is a good one to try. And also, Pops. What do you collect? What are your hobbies? What do you think of Funko Pops? I know it's a little niche kind of thing to talk about, but I'd love to hear what you guys are into. Also, what do you think about the Omega Seamaster? Is this a type of luxury watch that you have that you would like to get one day? Or are you just still sticking to your Apple smartwatch? I hope that I can slowly walk you off the plank, if you will, so that you can maybe take off that smartwatch one day. But 5 smartwatches, and that would equal this watch, and this watch will last a lifetime. Just food for thought. And Patagonia, do you use their brand? What do you think of their brand? I think it's like a real beard brand as far as the flannels go and the outdoor scene goes. And finally, are you a fan of beeswax? Do you believe a beeswax should be in a butter, or do you think it should stay in a balm? I'd like to hear all your thoughts on that. And if you kind of want to talk about and you got a beard and you want to try a new product, we would like to welcome you into the KILT BEARD CO lifestyle. Try some of our beard balm and beard butter and create a good regimen to have the best beard that you can get. So in ending, have a great weekend. Appreciate you. We're on to a next one next week. Stay tuned on Sunday. Catch myself and Dakota, and we'll do a cup with Joe and Dakota. So check you out next week. Be safe.